Hello students, today we are going to discuss about the new chapter, that is atoms and molecule from class 9. Okay, so by looking at the name itself you will be little bit aware that we are going to learn about the atoms and molecules. Okay, and atoms and molecules are basically what? Where they are found? They are found in the elements here. So before we go to the definition of atoms and definition of molecules and what type of molecules can be formed, okay, so we need to know something about a chemical reaction, because whenever these atoms, they undergo any type of reaction, okay, so in this very case they used to form some type of substances, and those type of process is known as a chemical reaction. Okay, so we have to know some rules regarding the chemical reaction and regarding the formula. Okay, regarding the formula, with the chemical formula formed by a elements or formed by the atoms here. So the first law that we are going to discuss here, that is your law of conservation of mass here. So in this very law of conservation of mass, they means to say that if you are doing a chemical reaction, then in this very chemical reaction, the total mass, okay, of the reactant should be equal to the total mass of the product. In other way, we can say that mass can neither be created nor can be destroyed in a chemical reaction, or in another way we can say that total mass of the reactant is equal to the total mass of the product here. This means that suppose if we have, okay, just assume that substance X is reacting with substance Y, and after that they form the compound, make it X and Y. It might not be same like this, but if you assume it, then there is one substance X reacting with substance Y and they are giving you a substance XY. So this part, okay, this part is known as the reactant and this part is known as the product here. So if I find out the total mass of the reactant, suppose you make it, then if I get 20, you make it, okay, not gram and all, just make it U 20 unit, and that side also you need to get 20 U only, okay, because as you say here, the mass cannot be created or can be destroyed. This means that whatever the mass you have before the reaction, that mass should be after the reaction also, okay. And this is why so important, because when you go to class 10, you are going to get a topic called balancing the chemical equation, and this balancing the chemical equation is totally dependent on the total law of conservation of mass here, okay. Suppose if you take an example here, okay, just try to understand here. Make it that hydrogen gas is reacting with oxygen gas, and we know that when hydrogen and oxygen they react, they are going to give you water here, okay. H2 plus O2 is going to give you water here. Now in class 10 you are going to learn that how to balance them, okay, but this is not our concern here now. Our concern is that why we need to follow this particular rule here, okay. So now you see this rule, they say is that law of conservation of mass here. In the very case, if I see here 2 into 1, because the mass of hydrogen is 1, that means 2 into 1 will become 2, and the mass of oxygen is 16, that means 2 into 16 will become how much? 32. If you make a sum of this, you are going to get a sum of 34, but if you come this side, you are going to get 2 hydrogen, that means 2 into 1 plus 1 into 16, that means you are going to get how much here? 18. This side we have total of 34, this side we have total of 18, this means that the chemical reaction is what? Here it is not following the law of conservation of mass. This means that this chemical reaction cannot occur, because here the energy is either lost or energy is either gained here. So in this type of cases, to follow the law of conservation of any mass, we have to balance the chemical reaction. So in class 10 you should be getting a question that why a chemical reaction should be balanced, okay. So a chemical reaction should be balanced so that it can follow the law of conservation of mass theorem, okay, on the theory here. Number 2 is that you have is the law of constant proportion. This means that in a chemical substance, the elements are always present in a definite proportion by mass. They mean to say it by mass. It means that suppose if you take suppose like water, okay, H2O. Water here, water is formed, you can say like H2 means how many here? We have 2 hydrogen molecule, okay, 2 hydrogen atom, and how many here? 1 oxygen atom. So if I say here, if it is 1:8, it means that every time if 1 gram of hydrogen is required, then would there be 1 gram, 8 gram of oxygen will be required to form the compound water, okay, and it cannot be changed. It will be always fixed. That means if every time if you require 1 gram of hydrogen, the next time it should be how much for oxygen should be 8 gram. Okay, this is known as the law of constant proportion. Okay, or in other way, in a very simple way, we can understand that if we form a chemical formula, the formula of water is what? H2O, and it is always going to be H2O. Suppose if you write something like this, H3O, this you cannot say as water, okay? Because here water is only formed only when 2 hydrogen atom is going to mix with 1 oxygen atom. That time only water can be formed. In other cases, some other substances can get formed, but not the water here. So we can say that whenever you have a chemical substance, in the chemical substance the atoms, okay, which are present there, they will always be in a fixed proportion, means you can say in a fixed ratio in terms of mass here. Next we have that is our atom, okay. In the lower classes also we have already learned what we mean by atom. The atom is the smallest individual particle that is present, okay. That is a part of an element which takes part in the chemical reaction. And atoms are so small, okay, that they cannot be broken anymore further, okay. So here written here indivisible means what? They cannot be broken down anymore further. And one more thing they written here, that it can neither be created nor can be destroyed in a chemical reaction. It means that suppose if I am doing chemical reaction, suppose water, okay, is heated and water is broken down into hydrogen gas and oxygen gas, okay. So if you see here, you can see that before the reaction there were hydrogen and what atom? Oxygen atom, okay. And if you see afterwards also what we have? We have hydrogen and oxygen. That means that whenever you do a chemical reaction, your atoms will not be created, neither will be destroyed. It means whatever atom you have before the reaction, you should also have the same atom after the reaction. You cannot bring new atoms, neither you can take out any type of, or neither you can bring new element, okay, neither you can take out any type of element from the very particular reaction here, okay. Whatever you will be having before the reactant side, you should have same thing in the product side also. Next is your molecule, okay. In a very simple way, if you want to know molecule means when 2 or more than 2 atoms of same element or different type of element, if they combine together, okay. If I have only H, this is known as atom, okay. This is a hydrogen atom, okay. But if I have 2 hydrogen, then they will combine and they will form what? H2. Now this cannot be called as an atom, okay. This should be called as a molecule. Similarly, if I have Na, and if I am taking here Cl2, and if I do the reaction, then I get what? NaCl. That means you can see here that I have here 2 different type of atom, okay. So you cannot call them as atom, you have to call them as molecule, okay. Now these molecules can be divided into 2 parts, that is molecules of element or molecules of compound. When you say molecules of element, suppose you can see here O2, Cl2, H2, N2. They all are known as molecules of element because here we have more than 2 atoms, but the atoms are of what? Same element, not different element, okay. Even you can write O3. O2 means oxygen gas, O3 means ozone gas, okay. So you can see here we have more than 2 atoms, but all the atoms are what? They are of same type. Because you see here we have 3 oxygen, here we have 2 oxygen, here we have 2 chlorine, okay. So those type of molecules are known as molecules of element. Now next we have molecules of what? Compound here. That means you can see here we have a compound substance like H2O, NaCl. H2O means what? It is a substance which is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. There are 2 atoms, but there are 2 different type of atoms. Okay, so if any type of substance is formed by 2 or more than 2 atoms of different types, okay, then they are known as molecules of compounds. The next one we have formula, unit, mass, okay. See, till now you have heard about atomic number. Even when you were in class 7, you have came across the concept called atomic number here. We know that every atom has its own atomic number. But with the atomic number, because since they are atom, okay, although they are very small, but they will have some amount of mass, okay. And every atom has different amount of mass here. So in that very case, so that very mass present in an atom is known as the atomic mass, okay. Suppose if I take an example, helium, okay. Helium atomic number is 2, but the atomic mass is 4. Carbon atomic number is 4, sorry, atomic number is 6, but the atomic mass will become how much here? 12, okay? And similarly, for some of the elements, okay, those elements which are required by us to do the various types of questions in our copy, they have been already given in your book, okay? And if you have extra doubt, you can go through the periodic table, okay? And you'll be getting there all the atomic number as well as the atomic mass, okay? The number which is written, suppose like if you have something like this, in the atomic, in the periodic table, they would have something like this, 6, and downside they will be writing like this, 12. So the upside one represents the atomic number and downside one represents the atomic mass here. So every atom has its own mass, okay? Similarly, carbon has its own mass. Similarly, oxygen also has its own mass, okay? So now, suppose I have given you a formula, okay, for a compound liquid one, H2O. Now I know the mass of hydrogen, I know the mass of the oxygen, okay, but what I don't know the mass of the water here. So if question comes here, what will be the atomic mass of water? So to know, sorry, what will be the molecular mass of water here? So if you want to find the molecular mass, okay, that means you have to find out the mass of each and every atom here. So you can see here how many hydrogen we have here? 2 hydrogen. Okay, the mass of one hydrogen atom is 1, 2 into 1. Then for the next element, whenever you go to next element, you have to write here plus here. See how many oxygen here? 1 oxygen means 1 into 16. Means 2 plus 16, that is how much here? 18. You know, this will be your, you can say like the molecular mass of that particular chemical substance. Okay, in this case it is your water here. So what I have written here? The formula unit mass, it is also known as the molecular mass, okay, of a compound or of a substance is equal to the sum. You can see I have done the sum is class here of the atomic mass of all the atoms present in the compound. Here how many atoms of hydrogen is present? 2. So I wrote here 2 into 1. How many oxygen here? 1 into 16. You cannot do like no, only one, only like hydrogen is here, so you cannot write only 1. Okay, you have to see that each atom is present in how much amount. If 2 hydrogen is present, then you have to multiply by 2. If 3 is present, you have to multiply by 3, and then you have to plus it down. Okay, you plus all the atomic mass, then you will be getting the total mass. The total mass will be known as the formula unit mass, or many times in the book they used to say as the atomic mass. Sometimes they say as the molecular mass of the substance here. So next topic is your valency. Okay, why are learning valency? Basically, if you see in this chapter, we don't have anything like valency here. Okay, but if we have to form a compound, that is chemical compound like this, before I showed you that chemical compound of water is H2O, sodium chloride is NaCl, okay. So you will be getting various types of compounds here. So basically, if you don't know the valency, it will be very difficult for you to form the compound. But if you know the valency, then it will be very easy for you to form the compound here, okay. So that's why since valency is not included in the particular chapter, we will try to discuss about the valency here. So valency means here the combining capacity of an element is called valency. In very other words, we can say that how many electrons that are going to take part in a chemical reaction is known as the valency here. Now you might be thinking here, I have used a term called electron. What is the electron here? Okay. Now you see that before I said the atoms. Okay, atoms are the smallest indivisible particle which cannot be divided anymore further. So, but these atoms are also made up of something. Atoms exist, so obviously atoms are made up of what? Something, isn't it? What is the something? Atoms are made up of electron, proton and neutron. This electron, proton and neutron all together make the atoms here. So we are discussing about the electrons here. So the number of atoms that an element is going to give or going to take to form a compound in a chemical reaction is known as the valency here, okay, or in other words you can say the combining capacity of an element here. So now to know the valency, you have to know the atomic number of each element. Okay, so we cannot learn all the atomic number of all the elements because we have around 180 elements. So what we have to do here for your up to class 10, you have to learn from 1 to 30 that we have already done in class 7. Okay, if you remember in class 7 you have learned the periodic table from 1 to 30, isn't it? From like serially when you are learning here, not in a zigzag way. Okay, you have to learn in a serial way. Suppose something like this: hydrogen, helium, lithium, barium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminium, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, argon, potassium, calcium, scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, and zinc. Okay, serial wise. If you know this serial wise the atomic number, so the element, then it will be very easy for you to know the atomic number. You will not have any type of confusion with the atomic number. Suppose that hydrogen. The first element is your what? Hydrogen. So its number is how much here? 1. Then after hydrogen what comes? Helium. If you count in your hand, it will be number 2 here. So you can write here 2. Then what I have written here? Carbon. Although we have lithium, barium, boron, okay, we are not writing all the elements because we are writing only those elements which will be required. Okay, some of them are there which we might not require for our solving and for our requirements, so we are not using them. Okay, so writing only those of them which are going to be used again and again. And that's what we have here: carbon. Count in your hand: hydrogen, helium, lithium, barium, boron, carbon. And what number is stopping? Stopping at 6. So that means the atomic number will become 6. Similarly, next is oxygen. You can count in your hand again: hydrogen, helium, lithium, barium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen. That is your how much here? 8. Similarly, if you go on counting, you will be getting the other atomic number: 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 17, 19, and 20. There are more of them. You do in your home by yourself. Okay, try to find out for others also. So now 1. Okay, now after this, okay, after you know about the concept of valency, you should know one more thing. There is still this thing also. It is not there in our chapter here. Okay, that is known as electronic configuration. So there was a scientist whose name was Niels Bohr. Okay, Niels Bohr. I forgot the year, but it was around 1913. That time, the Niels Bohr, he came up with an sequence. Okay, and that sequence is known as the atomic configuration. He says that how the electrons present in an atom can be reassembled. So that very sequence is known as the atomic configuration. The sequence says that something like this. They say that all the electrons should be arranged in this particular form. This is known as cell. First cell, second cell, third cell, fourth cell. Okay. This is that first cell can have maximum of how many electrons? 2 electrons. Second can have maximum of 8. Third can have maximum of 18. Fourth can have maximum 32. And similarly, it is going to continue. And we are going to learn more about it in our next chapter. Okay. But for time being, remember that the electronic configuration should be something like this: 2 dot, 8 dot, 18 dot, 32. That means the first cell can have maximum how many electrons here? 2 electrons. So come here now. Try to write all these atomic number in the form of electronic configuration here. So 1. 1 means we don't have any option. 1 means only you can write how much here? 1. 2 means first cell can have maximum how many electrons? 2. That means it will be 2 here. 6. Okay. Although it has 6 electrons here, but we can write first can have how much? Only 2. According to this particular sequence, first cell can have 2 electrons. Then from 6, 2 is gone. How many left? 4 is left. So it will become 2 dot. Or similarly, it will become 2 dot 6. It will become 2 dot 7. It will become 2 dot 8. It should have become 2 dot 9. Okay. So according to this one, okay, this is 8. Then 18. Okay. But the thing is that you cannot write 8 here because the last cell. Okay. Because you can see here, whatever you are writing, the last cell, okay, the last cell can have any number of electrons, like it can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But it cannot have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17. Plus, again if you go next, you can have 18. But those numbers like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 and 17 will not be there here. Okay. So we can write 9 here. We have to write only how much? 8. 8 plus 2 how much? 10. 10 plus how much is 11? You will get here how much? 1. Similarly, get written as 2 dot 8 dot 2, 2 dot 8 dot 3. Here you can write it as 2 dot 8 dot 7. Here you can write it here 2 dot 8. 8 plus 2 is how much? 10. Here what is that number here? 19. 19 means what can you write? 8 plus 2 10. That is here 9. But just now I say the last cell cannot have any number of elements which have like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, it can have 18 here, so I cannot write 9. If I cannot write 9, what shall I write here? 8. That means 8 dot 1. 1. If you count here, a plus 2 10, 10 plus 18, 18 plus 1 will become 19 here. And this one you can write it as 2.8.8.2 here. Okay. So once if you write the electronic configuration of every element, okay, then it will become very easy for you to find the valency of this particular element here. So now, once you wrote the electronic configuration, after you write it down, you have to look at the element which is present in the last cell. Okay, not whatever present in the before and all. Okay, just look at the last one. So if you follow here, you will see that in the last cell we have 1, we have 2, we have even 3, we have 4. Although I do not 5 here, but we have 5 also. We have 6, we have 7, and we have 8. We don't have anything like 9, 10 and all. Okay. So if you want to find the valency, I will draw a table for you. Okay, it can be used as a valency table. So for valency table, you have to see at the electron present in the last cell, and then you will be able to determine the valency here. If you see in the last cell, we have what are the number of electrons here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and how much? 8 here. Okay. So if in the last cell, if you have 1, your valency should be 1. Okay. If it is 2, it should be 2. If it is 3, it's going to be 3. If it is 4, it's going to be 4. If it is 5, don't write 5. Okay. When you reach the 5, you write like this: 8 minus 5. How much here? 3. 8 minus 6 will become 2. 8 minus 7 will become 1, and 8 minus 8 will become how much here? 0 here. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You can start to decrease. 3, 2, 1, and 0. Why it becoming 1? Why it becoming 2? Why it becoming 3? We will discuss it later on. Okay. For the time being, you can just know that if in the last cell if you have 1, valency is going to be 1. If it is 2, it's going to be 2. 3 then 3, 4 then 4, 5 then 3, 6 then 2, 7 then 1, 8 then 0 here. Okay. This one, how much we have in the last cell? We have 1. If it is 1, what is the valency here? 1 here. Okay. Now here, how much we have here? 2. That means you will be saying that the valency will be 2, but no. It's going to be 2 here because we said that electronic configuration is what? 2.8.18. When I wrote 2.8.18 means, it means that it can have a maximum of 2 electrons, not more than 2. And if you see here, it already has 2 electrons. That means since you have already filled up, the first cell is what? Filled up here. If it is filled up, that means it is not going to take part in the chemical reaction. If it is not going to take part in the chemical reaction, its valency will become 0 here. So remember, helium, although it has 2 electrons in the outermost cell, its valency is going to be 0 here. You can see it is 4, valency will become 4. 6, if you see here 6, then what we have? 2. 7, then how much we have? 1, 8 then 0, again 1 then 1, 2 then 2, 3 then 3, 7 then 1, 1 then 1. And again, you can see that 2 then 2 here. Now this is your valencies here. Now what is the use of these valencies? Suppose if I tell you what is the formula for magnesium chloride. Okay. So many of them would have magnesium is Mg, chloride is chlorine. Okay. But this is not correct because whenever you are forming a formula, you have to look at the valency here. So how will you form here? First of all, you have to see this formula or this compound is made up of what type of element. Magnesium symbol is what? Mg. Chlorine, written here symbol is what here? Cl. Write it down. Then you go to the valency table and find out the valency from here. Magnesium, okay? Just check it out. What is the valency of magnesium? 2. Come to chlorine. What is the valency of chlorine here? 1 here. Then after that you try to exchange them, okay? Exchange it. That means this 1 electron will come here, right in the down part here. And this here Cl, okay? These 2 will come in the down part. Then you combine it, it will become Mg, it will become Cl2. 1 is not required to write, okay? But again I am telling, this is just the beginning, okay? We are just telling you it will go here and there, okay? But in reality, it does not happen like this. There the procedure is very different here, and that is we are going to learn in the higher classes, okay? For time being, to understand how to make the formula, just remember, first you write the element which are present in the compound, then you write the valency, then we exchange the valency, but don't write the valency up and down, okay? Write in suffix form here, okay? Downside. Then, if it is 1, remove the 1. If it is divisible, divide it, and afterwards whatever you get in the last, you write it out. Suppose like, if you see one more example like magnesium oxide. Now, magnesium oxide means the compound is made up of magnesium. Oxide means it is oxygen. If you come here, magnesium again we have valency of how much here? 2. Come to oxygen, we have valency of how much here? 2. Try to exchange means try to you exchange the electrons, okay? Mg. How much is going to get? 2. How much O is going to get? 2 here. Now these 2 and 2 are divisible, means 2 under 2, 2 under 3 can be cancelled, so it will become how much here? MgO. That means the formula for magnesium oxide is MgO. So if you know the valency of every element, then any type of compound they tell you to form, it will be very easy for you to form them.
Stay home, stay safe.
Do it for self.
Do it for your family. Do it for India.
Let's break the chain of COVID-19.
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद. हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद.
हम होंगे कामयाब, जय हिंद.